Our next guest is refreshingly original in his thinking on taxes and the debt. Congressman Polis maintains most of the proposals that we've seen coming out of Congress have been a political sideshow, and he claims he has a plan to help the country get out of the debt crisis, which includes legalizing and taxing marijuana, legalizing internet gambling, opening the door to some 10 million illegal immigrants through amnesty, allowing one-year amnesty for federal taxpayers. And in a Wall Street Journal opinion piece, he referred to the Grover Norquist anti-tax pledge that many Republicans have signed. He says it doesn't preclude provisions that would increase revenue without actually increasing taxes on Americans. Polis says, quote, all four of these ideas and many more like them are fully consistent with the Norquist pledge and produce substantial new revenue streams for the federal government. They should all be on the table along with spending cuts if we are to break free of the rhetorical shackles that prevent cutting the deficit. Joining us now is Congressman Polis of Colorado. Congressman, good to have you with us.
Pleasure to be on with you, Lou.
Well, let's start. We're looking at a tremendous deficit this year alone of $1.65 trillion, as you know. How much revenue could we get, by your best estimate, if we should effectively legalize and tax marijuana?
That piece is about $40 billion over 10 years. And to be clear, Lou, none of this is an excuse not to make the cuts. The cuts are a given. They're there. We're talking about the revenue piece. It might be 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 cuts. We can do the revenue piece and actually reduce taxes. Effectively, there's 100% federal tax on marijuana. It's legal in 15 states. My proposal wouldn't make it legal in anywhere where it's illegal today. It would simply say in places like Colorado where it's legal, let's reduce the tax from 100% to be more in line with other sin taxes.
And a one-year amnesty for federal income tax. How much would that provide?
That's the big one. That's the big fundraiser in this. It's been estimated by Dr. Arthur Laffer, former CBO director under Reagan, to raise about $800 billion over 10 years. These are people who have cheated or not paid their taxes in the past. We're saying come forward, declare yourself, pay all your taxes going forward. There won't be any criminal charges against you. It enlarges the tax base. You can't do this kind of thing regularly, Lou, because it encourages people to cheat, but you can do it once every 50 years to get more people in the base.
Congressman, I've got to interrupt just for a moment. We've got breaking news, and we want to bring everybody up to date on what is unfolding right now. The National Football League team owners have voted to approve a new collective bargaining agreement with the players.
QC, don't worry about it.
The 4-month-old lockout does remain in place at least until the Players Association also agrees to support the proposal. They are due to meet later tonight to talk about the issue. We are awaiting a news conference by Commissioner Roger Goodell. We'll be going to that just as soon as it occurs, but good news, obviously, for the teams, the communities, and the local economies, wherever the NFL plays, and of course for about $9 billion in television revenues. Again, the owners have voted to approve the new collective bargaining agreement. We're going to be talking about that. I'm going to be joined here in this broadcast shortly. The Giants cornerback Terrell Thomas will be joining us to talk about the players, the impact of the lockout, and what appears now to be a forceful first step toward resolution. The owners, again, agreeing to the proposal. We'll be hearing more from the Players Association tonight. Roger Goodell to talk at a press conference here soon. We'll bring it to you just as soon as that occurs. Congressman, I apologize for the interruption. We wanted to bring everybody up to date on what is happening. As we talk about these issues, you also want to provide amnesty for illegal immigrants. You say that will make significant contributions. How so?
Lou, that's your word, not mine. I mean, amnesty means you're forgiving past sins. I think what we're talking about here is what is the penalty for living in this country illegally? Should it be something that helps us or something that hurts us? Should the penalty be to be kicked out at a cost of $20,000 per person, which is how much it costs? Or do we somehow want these people to pay a fine?
Just a second, Congressman. I've got to ask you this. Just who is proposing kicking out a single illegal immigrant? Could you name that person?
Well,
I don't know of a single organization, party, politician, I don't know of anyone who is recommending that an illegal immigrant be kicked out of the country.
Well, President Obama, and that's what ICE does. We kicked 400,000 out last year at a cost of about $20,000 per person. So I think we absolutely detain and then expel people who have been here illegally. It happens every day.
So only President Obama is doing that.
President Bush as well. I mean, it's been the policy of this country.
You know, that's exciting that we can relive history, but I'm talking about right now.
Well, it's the federal government. So, yeah, it's 400,000 illegal immigrants were kicked out in the last year. So that's
Right.
the rough numbers we're talking about.
Leaving how many?
Estimated 10, 12 million. We don't even know because there's not even a registry.
But aren't
for
the
it.
10 to 12 million the ones we're talking about here? Not the 400,000 that have been, as you put it, kicked out?
Well, I mean, again, the question is, what do you do about the 10 to 12 million?
Well, that's what
I'm
I
saying,
asked, but you wanted to talk about the people who want to kick them out. I don't know anybody who does. As you say,
Well,
other than President Obama and the so-called federal government on the issue.
Well, I mean, would you'd like to keep them here, Lou?
Would I like to keep them here? I'd like to have them, absolutely. Those who work, I think it would make great sense to have them here legally.
Yeah.
Sure, why would you
That's
not?
what we're proposing here. Yeah, and that's what we're proposing here.
So, and what I'm asking you is, what
permit.
is that proposal?
Sure, it's you know, what we call comprehensive immigration reform. It would be people who've been
That's
here illegally.
amnesty. Come on. I mean,
Well,
if you're
they have
using
to pay a penalty.
comprehensive immigration reform, that's amnesty.
What do you want the penalty to be, Lou? Should it be they pay
You tell me. I thought
$2,000, $5,000?
I just complimented you by calling you an original thinker, and you're bringing back what has been rejected 3 times by the United States Congress and Senate, and I thought you had a new idea.
We're going to have more and more illegal immigrants every day unless we do something about it. There's going to be 15 million if we don't do something about it. And what to do about it? You don't make them citizens. You don't give them green cards. You have some kind of provisional work permit, and you pay a fine for it. And that's how you penalize their illegal presence. It makes sense.
That's not comprehensive immigration reform because it wouldn't lead necessarily to citizenship.
No, not necessarily. I mean, over 20 years later, some of them might be able to apply for that. But no, nobody becomes a citizen overnight. You get a provisional work permit. Many years later, you get a green card, and 8 years after that, you can apply for citizenship. It could be 20 years before any of them are citizens.
Super. Now, see, now you're living up to your billing that I gave you.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, but anyway, it's a revenue raiser. That's the point. You do this the right way, you raise $100 billion or more to help offset the deficit.
Now, there is one quick question I've got to ask you. At what point do all of the welfare and social safety net provisions kick in for those people that you would give a work a visa?
They don't get any of those on the provisional work permits. When they're on the green card holders are eligible for some, but not all.
What would be the time frame between the provisional visa and the green card?
You know, again, it's up for negotiation. I'd start off with 10 years as a reasonable time frame.
10 years? All right. Well, let's continue the conversation. Come back soon. We'll talk about it. Good to have you with us.
Happy to.
Congressman Jared Polis.